Have you ever found yourself sitting in the silence of your home, wondering how life became so different after 60? Does it feel like the laughter, the busy days of caring for your children, and the warmth of a full house have faded, leaving behind an emptiness that's hard to fill? If you've ever questioned whether all your sacrifices were truly worth it, or felt that life has somehow moved on without you, then this video is for you. We're going to dive deep into the emotions that come with this stage of life, and why you may feel forgotten or left behind. More importantly, we'll explore ways to find new purpose, rediscover joy, and rekindle the meaning of your days. By the end of this video, you'll understand how to embrace this new chapter, uncovering the strength you still have within you to move forward with hope, and most importantly, how to create a life filled with connection and fulfillment once again. Stay with us, because together we'll find the courage to take that first step toward a brighter, more meaningful future. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. It's an undeniable truth that children don't consciously abandon their parents. It's not something they wake up one day and decide to do. Life simply happens. They grow up and build families of their own, careers, and responsibilities, and suddenly, the world becomes a whirlwind for them, a chaotic rush of obligations, deadlines, and priorities. The pace of their lives moves so fast that it often feels like there's no room for them to pause, take a breath, and remember how much you long for a moment with them, how much you yearn for a hug that lingers, a phone call that lasts longer than a few rushed minutes. The world around them is relentless, and they're swept up in it. And while you understand that, it doesn't make the ache in your heart any less intense. This pain you carry is so much more than just physical separation. It's a deep emotional wound, a sense of abandonment that goes far beyond the fact that they aren't physically with you. It's the absence of their presence in your heart, in your thoughts, in the very air you breathe. There's a hollow feeling that fills your home, lingering in the empty seats at the dinner table, in the room that now seems far too quiet, and in the bed that feels too big, too lonely for just one person. It's a feeling that's hard to put into words, something that only those who have lived through it can truly understand. It's not just that your children are busy, it's that the life you once knew, filled with their laughter, their needs, their voices, has faded into silence. And that silence, space, is filled with a sadness so profound that it's hard to explain to anyone who hasn't experienced it. You remember the days when your world revolved around your children, when every part of your day was dedicated to making sure they were okay, that they had everything they needed. And now, you find yourself standing in a life that seems to have no clear direction. It's as if the very purpose that once drove you has been taken away, and you're left to wonder, what now? The truth is, your entire identity was wrapped up in being a mother, a Faye, a caregiver. 4 years, that's who you were, and you were proud of it. You found joy, purpose, and meaning in taking care of those you loved. But now, without someone to care for, without someone who needs you in the same way, who are you? What's left when the people who defined your role in life seem to have moved on? The pain isn't just about missing your children physically. It's so much more than that. It's about the loss of a role that was once central to who you are. You miss being asked how your day was, not just because you're lonely, but because you need that connection. You need to feel like your presence in the world still matters to someone. You miss being seen, being needed, being part of something bigger than just yourself. And while you try to convince yourself that they still care, that they still love you, there's a part of you that can't help but feel like you've been left behind in a world that's moved on without you. The routine of your days now feels like an endless loop, with each one blending into the next, filled with a monotony that only serves to remind you of what's missing. There's a deep, aching void that seems to grow with each passing day, and you can't help but feel like something essential has been lost. It's not just the physical absence of your children, it's the emotional absence too. You feel like you've given so much of yourself for so many years, poured your heart and soul into loving and raising your family, and now it feels like that effort has gone unnoticed, unappreciated. It's as if, after all you've done, the world has simply turned the page, and you've been left behind in the past. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. This isn't just loneliness, it's a profound sense of loss. A loss of connection, of meaning, of purpose. The silence in your home is deafening, and the quiet moments that used to bring you peace now bring only heartache. You find yourself longing for the days when your children were small, when your life was full of their laughter, their needs, and their presence. But those days are gone, and in their place is a loneliness that is hard to explain to anyone who hasn't felt it. What makes this even harder to bear is that it's not just about missing your children's company. It's about the emotional support you've lost. It's about the sense of being understood, of having someone who truly knows you and cares about your thoughts, your fears, and your memories. That kind of connection doesn't just disappear with time. It leaves a hole in your heart that nothing else can fill. And on the worst days, the feeling of abandonment is so overwhelming that it's almost impossible to hold back the tears. The weight of it all feels too heavy to carry, because the truth is, the heart wasn't made to bear this kind of sorrow alone. Sometimes you sit in the quiet and wonder if anyone notices your absence, if anyone even thinks about how you're doing. And the realization that life has gone on without you, that the people you love have moved on, built their own lives, and no longer need you in the same way, cuts deeper than words can express. It's not that they don't care, it's that the world has changed. The pace of life has quickened, and in the rush of it all, they've unintentionally left you behind. You miss the little things, like hearing their voice on the phone or seeing their faces light up when they walk through the door. But more than that, you miss the feeling of being needed, of being an integral part of their lives. It's not about wanting to control them or hold them back. It's about wanting to know that you still matter, that the love and care you gave for so many years is still valued, still appreciated. But now, there's a part of you that wonders if anyone truly sees the pain you're in, if anyone understands how deeply this loneliness cuts. And so, you keep going day by day, trying to fill the void with routine, with distractions, with anything that will take your mind off the emptiness you feel. But the truth is, nothing can replace the love and connection you once had. Nothing can fill the space that's been left behind. And as much as you try to move forward, there's always that lingering sense of loss, that aching reminder that things will never be the same. In the quiet moments, when the house is still and the world outside seems so far away, you can't help but wonder, will it ever get better? Will there come a day when this pain subsides, when the loneliness doesn't feel quite so overwhelming? Or is this just the reality of growing older, of watching the people you love build lives that no longer include you in the same way? The questions hang in the air, unanswered, and all you can do is hold on to the hope that someday, somehow, things will change. Sometimes all you wanted was a simple sign, some kind of reassurance that your life still holds meaning, that you're not just forgotten in the whirlwind of everyone else's busy lives. You look back, and there's this incredible woman, a version of yourself, who faced countless challenges head-on, who devoted herself to raising her children with everything she had, who kept the house running like clockwork. This woman, who had dreams of her own, desires that often had to be tucked away, stored deep inside a drawer somewhere because her family always came first. And now, as you reach the point where you thought you'd finally be able to rest, the world has grown eerily quiet. The silence that fills your days is heavy and relentless. Each small creak in the house, every echoing footstep, only amplifies how much you miss the noise, the laughter, the conversations, even just someone calling out your name. It feels like you're suddenly adrift, floating aimlessly in a vast ocean, with no sense of direction. The feeling of being lost grows stronger with each passing day. You look back at all those years, years of sacrifice, of love poured into your family, and you can't help but wonder, was it all worth it? It's a painful thought, one that carries so much emotion and regret. It's not that you regret the children you've had or the love you gave so freely. No, what you struggle with is the sense that all of that love, all of that dedication has become a one-way street. You gave so much of yourself, gave up so many things you wanted, and deep down, you held on to the hope that when the time came, you'd be able to feel the warmth of that love return to you, through affection, attention, and the constant presence of those you cared for so deeply. But when those hopes don't materialize, when the visits become fewer, the phone calls shorter, and the quiet days stretch longer, it's hard not to feel a deep, bitter ache. A feeling creeps in that despite doing everything right, despite giving your all, somehow it wasn't enough. And that's when the toughest question arises, the one that gnaws at you in the quiet of the night. How do you keep moving forward when it feels like there's nowhere left to go? This feeling of being lost, of drifting without purpose, is more common than anyone cares to admit. For so many years, your life was filled with structure. There was always something or someone to take care of. The children's schedules, work, household tasks, it was a constant race against time, always something to do, someone to worry about, a goal to reach. And now, with those responsibilities gone or diminished, it feels like you've been thrown into uncharted waters. There's no more to-do list, no urgent tasks pulling you in a dozen directions. The day stretches out endlessly in front of you, and each morning brings with it the same question. What am I supposed to do with myself now? Life, which once seemed vibrant and full of purpose, now feels faded. It's as though the colors of your world have dulled, and everything has lost its spark. You find yourself having to muster the strength to take another step each day, even though you don't know where you're going. It's not just an external direction you've lost, it's internal, too. Suddenly, you're questioning your worth, your own identity. Who am I now? Without the children needing you, without the daily routines to keep you busy, who are you? For so long, your sense of self was defined by caring for others. You were the mother, the caregiver, the one who always knew what to do, who everyone relied on. But now that they're living their own lives, building their own families, where does that leave you? Time seems to have moved forward, but you feel as though you've been left standing in the same place, wondering where you fit in this new reality. And it's not just about physical loneliness. It's the emotional distance, the feeling that you've become invisible in the lives of those who once centered their worlds around you. You gave everything, your time, your love, your whole being, and now it feels like you're standing on the sidelines of their lives, watching them go on without you. You miss the way they used to need you, the way your presence mattered in their day-to-day lives. Now, it feels like you've become a footnote in the very story you helped write. This quiet reflection brings with it so many emotions: sadness, confusion, and even resentment at times. You can't help but wonder, what about me? After all these years, after everything I gave, is this what I'm left with? It's a deeply personal, painful journey, one that many face in silence. But it's important to acknowledge that this feeling, this sense of loss and displacement, is real. It's not something to be brushed aside or minimized. It's a grief of its own, a mourning for the life you once knew, for the role you once played, and for the love you hope to still feel, even if in a different way. You start to realize that moving forward isn't just about finding new activities or keeping busy. It's about redefining your sense of purpose. It's about rediscovering who you are outside of the roles you played for so long. And that's not easy. It takes time, patience, and, above all, self-compassion. You deserve to honor the life you've lived, the sacrifices you made, and the love you've given. Even if it feels like the world has forgotten, you must remember that your life still matters. You still matter. In this new chapter, it's okay to feel lost sometimes. It's okay to grieve the life that once was. But it's also an opportunity to turn inward, to explore parts of yourself that were perhaps set aside for others. It's a time to nurture your soul, find joy in new ways, and remind yourself that your worth isn't tied to how much others need you, but to the incredible strength and love that's always been within you. You're not just adrift, you're evolving. And while this part of the journey may be difficult, it's also filled with the potential for growth, self-discovery, and perhaps even a renewed sense of purpose. These questions cut deeply because they touch the very core of your heart, the essence of what you believe to be your purpose throughout your entire life. It's not just about wondering what went wrong, because deep down, you know you've done nothing wrong. You loved, you gave, and you sacrificed. Yet, despite all of that, it's almost impossible to shake the hollow feeling inside, that nagging sense of emptiness as though something vital is missing. You find yourself staring at old photographs, reliving moments that once brought you such joy, yet now seem like distant echoes of a life that no longer feels like your own. The laughter, the gatherings, the small, tender moments. They all feel like they belong to a different time, a time when your world felt whole. The longing for what once was, mixed with the uncertainty of what lies ahead, creates a heavy burden on your heart, a weight that feels impossible to carry on your own. It's an emotional tightrope you walk daily, balancing between the bittersweet memories of the past and the fear of an uncertain future. The ache is real, it's deep, and sometimes it feels like it will never go away. Yet, despite all of this pain, there is a quiet strength inside you, a resilience that has never completely faded. Amid of all the doubt, confusion, and heartache, there is still a flicker of hope, a small flame that refuses to be extinguished. It's the hope that maybe, just maybe, things can get better. That somehow, it's still possible to find a new path, a new purpose. Even when it seems like all the roads have been blocked and you're standing alone at a crossroads with no clear direction, that tiny spark within you whispers that there is still more to life. Something is waiting for you, even if you don't yet know what it is. The fact that you are here, reading these words, searching for some kind of comfort, shows that there is still a will inside you to try. And that will is powerful. It's the seed of something new, something yet to come. It's the first step toward a new chapter. A chapter in which you begin to rediscover what truly matters to you as an individual, not just as a mother, a wife, or a caregiver, but as the person you've always been underneath all those roles. It's a journey toward finding peace within yourself, without needing the constant presence or approval of others to validate your worth. At first, this search might feel lonely, painfully so. It may seem like a journey you have to make on your own, but it's a necessary one. It's a journey back to you. For so long, you were defined by the roles you played for others. You were the foundation, the rock for your family, the one who always had to be strong. And while those roles were important, they sometimes left you feeling invisible, your own needs and desires buried under the weight of responsibility. Now, with those roles diminished, there's an opportunity to reconnect with yourself, to uncover the person you've always been but who may have been hidden in the background. Of course, the loneliness can feel overwhelming at times, especially when you see the lives of others unfold in what seems like endless joy. Social media makes it worse, doesn't it? Every post, every picture is a reminder of what you're no longer part of. Happy families, groups of friends, celebrations you weren't invited to. It's as though the world is spinning on, full of life, while you're stuck in this solitary routine where the days blur together, each one the same as the last. And what hurts the most is the silence. The phone that never rings, the messages that don't come, the visits that become so rare they feel like a distant memory. It's a gradual fading, a slow drifting into the background of everyone else's lives. You wonder if anyone even remembers you anymore, if they still care, or if you've simply become a forgotten presence in a world that once felt so vibrant and connected. The pain of this goes far beyond physical loneliness. It's not just about the absence of someone sitting next to you. It's the absence of being thought of being cared about, of feeling like your existence still matters to someone. It's as if your heart, once full of love and life, has been left on a dusty shelf, forgotten, in a house that used to be filled with laughter and warmth. Now, the silence is so loud, and the emptiness so profound, it feels like the very walls of your home are closing in around you. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. This kind of loneliness cuts deeper than words can describe. It's not just about missing people. It's about missing the feeling of being loved, of being needed, of being part of something bigger than yourself. It's about the deep ache that comes when you realize that the life you once knew, the life you built with so much love and effort, has changed, and you're not quite sure where you fit anymore. You long for the days when your presence mattered, when your voice was heard, when you were an essential part of your family's life. Now, it feels like you've been left behind, a shadow of the person you once were, waiting for someone to notice that you're still here, still longing for connection. And yet, despite all of this pain, there is still that glimmer of hope inside you. There is still a part of you that knows you're not done yet, and that your story is far from over. You may not have all the answers right now, and that's okay. You don't have to figure everything out all at once. But the fact that you're still searching, still trying, holding on to that little spark of hope, means that you're stronger than you realize. This journey may not be easy, and it may be filled with moments of doubt and heartache, but it's also a journey toward something new. Something that is just for you. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. Your life still holds meaning, and your presence still matters. The world may feel distant right now, and the loneliness may be overwhelming, but you are still here, and that is something to hold on to. You are still you, with all your strength, all your love, and all your capacity to find joy and purpose again. And as long as that flame inside you still burns, there is hope for brighter days ahead. The impact of prolonged loneliness on your mental health is profound because human beings aren't meant to live in isolation. We need touch, hugs, and the simple joy of sharing our daily experiences, the highs and the lows, with someone who truly cares. When those connections fade, the burden of loneliness begins to grow, quietly at first but eventually becoming too heavy to carry alone. It weighs on your mind, leaving you feeling discouraged, deeply sad, and at times, even hopeless. There's an emptiness that settles in when there's no one to turn to, no one to hear the thoughts and emotions that pile up inside you like a mountain you can't seem to climb. And while you try to be strong, and try to find reasons to smile, it's not always easy to hold your head high when your heart is filled with so much longing. Longing not just for the people you love, but for who you used to be when you were surrounded by love, affection, and attention, when your life had a clear purpose, a role that gave you meaning. As time moves forward, the effects of aging begin to add another layer to this struggle. Your body doesn't respond the way it used to. Simple tasks become more difficult, and physical limitations appear where there once was strength. And with that comes an unsettling sense of vulnerability, a fear that grows quietly inside you. The fear that, as your body becomes weaker, you'll be forgotten even more. The fear that you'll become a burden. The fear that, when you do ask for help, no one will be there to hear your call. And worst of all, the fear that those closest to you won't notice how deeply you need companionship, love, and care. This fear can begin to close you off, even when you don't want it to. You withdraw, not because you don't want to be seen, but because you're terrified of being seen as fragile. You don't want to be the subject of anyone's pity, yet at the same time, you crave a moment of attention. Just a little bit of care from someone willing to sit with you, to listen without judgment or hurry, to simply be present with you in your loneliness. But even amid these emotions, it's important to remember that you are still here. Your story isn't over yet, and this loneliness, as painful as it is, doesn't have to define you. Growing older doesn't mean the end of your ability to create new bonds, find new reasons to live, and new people to care about. It might feel impossible to take that first step, especially when you feel emotionally drained and physically tired. But that initial movement, no matter how small, can open doors to a new chapter of your life. Maybe it's a support group where you can share your experiences with others who understand what you're going through. Maybe it's a community center that offers activities you never thought to try before. Or perhaps it's volunteering, giving your time and wisdom to others who need it. The first step is always the hardest, but it's precisely this step that can begin to lift the heavy weight on your heart, to show you that there are still opportunities out there for connection, for love, for a sense of belonging. And even though this journey may feel lonely at first, it's a journey worth taking because at the end of the day, it's not just about finding new people. It's about reconnecting with yourself. You've spent so many years caring for others, being the rock, the foundation of your family. Now, it's time to reconnect with that part of yourself that still has so much to give and so much to experience. Society may not always see the value of the wisdom you carry, but that doesn't diminish its importance. On the contrary, it's a reminder that all the love, all the care, and all the dedication you've given throughout your life is the foundation of who you are. And even though things may no longer be the same, that doesn't mean there's no longer room for new moments of joy, for new friendships, for new meaning. There's still time to discover new passions, reignite old hobbies you once loved, or simply allow yourself to feel everything you've been holding inside without fear of judgment. You don't have to conform to anyone else's expectations anymore. This chapter is yours to write, and it's filled with possibilities you haven't even imagined yet. Even in this later stage of life, there is so much you can explore, so much to offer, and so much to receive. Your heart still holds the capacity for love, connection, and joy, and it's never too late to find those things again. Your journey, your worth, and your ability to live fully don't end with age. It's simply a new phase, a new opportunity to live authentically and find what makes your heart sing again. And while it may take time to get there, you are more than capable of embracing this new chapter with the same strength and grace that carried you through all the challenges of your past. Remember, the love you have inside of you is still powerful. And it's this love, both for yourself and others, that will guide you toward brighter, more fulfilling days. Yes, I know all of this can sound incredibly challenging, especially when you feel the weight of time passing and worry that the opportunities to start over are becoming fewer and farther between. But the truth is, there is no deadline for new beginnings. Age is not a barrier to finding a fresh purpose or discovering a new reason to get out of bed in the morning. It could be something as small as tending to a garden, something as nurturing as adopting a pet, or even something as simple as joining a local community group where people gather to share moments, hobbies, or just a little bit of companionship. The important thing is to find something, no matter how small, that brings light into your day, a spark that reignites that warmth in your heart, which may have been dormant for far too long. Because when you strip it all back, life is made up of these little moments. It's the small, sincere connections that breathe life into each day. Of course, it takes a lot of courage to step out of your comfort zone, especially when loneliness has settled in so deeply that it feels like part of your very being. It can seem like a constant companion, one you've reluctantly grown accustomed to. But remember how many challenges you've already faced and overcome in your life. Think back to those moments when you felt lost, unsure of how to proceed, and yet still found a way to move forward. That strength is still there, inside you, even if it's hidden under layers of doubt and sadness. Sometimes, the first step to overcoming loneliness is simply admitting to yourself that you deserve happiness, that you deserve love, and that it's okay to find joy in the smallest things. It's not about asking for too much. It's about permitting yourself to live your life more fully, more authentically, without being afraid of judgment or worrying about meeting other people's expectations. You don't have to justify your desire to be happy or to seek out connections. It's a natural part of being human. And it's crucial to remember that loneliness doesn't have to be faced alone. There are so many people out there who feel just like you. People who are also searching for meaning, looking for companionship, and hoping to rediscover the joy that life can offer. These people may be closer than you think. It could be a neighbor you've lived next to for years but never really spoken to, someone who is also yearning for a deeper connection. It could be an old friend who has drifted out of touch over time. Or maybe it's someone you'll meet in a support group, a community center, or a local church. These new connections don't need to be dramatic or intense. They can start with something as simple as a shared conversation over coffee, a gentle stroll through the park, or even a friendly wave as you pass by each other. The most important thing is to keep that hope alive, the belief that no matter how difficult or lonely life has felt, there is still a possibility of finding companionship, love, and understanding in unexpected places. Life doesn't have to be defined by the loneliness you've experienced. It's never too late to open your heart, create new bonds, and allow yourself the freedom to embrace whatever joy and warmth the world still has to offer. You've made it this far, carrying so much love, wisdom, and resilience within you. Now it's time to give yourself the gift of starting again, of believing that there are still beautiful moments waiting for you. Moments filled with connection, laughter, and shared experiences that remind you that life, in all its complexity, is still a journey worth embracing. At the same time, it's equally important to take a moment and look within yourself, to rediscover who you are beyond the many roles you've played throughout your life. You are not just a mother, grandmother, or wife. You are an individual with dreams, desires, and talents that may have been set aside as life's responsibilities piled up. There was always something to do for others, some need to fulfill, and slowly, pieces of yourself may have slipped into the background. But those parts of you are still there, waiting to be rediscovered. Now might be the perfect time to dust off old hobbies you once loved but left behind. Whether it's painting, playing an instrument, reading, or nurturing a garden. These are not just activities. They are pathways back to yourself, to the person you've always been but may have temporarily forgotten. It's also a time to explore new interests, even if they seem small or even a bit frivolous to others. These pursuits, no matter how simple, are meaningful because they are for you. They're ways of rebuilding your sense of self, of reigniting that spark of curiosity and joy that may have faded over the years. Every new interest, every small project you take on, is a step toward rebuilding your self-esteem, a quiet reminder that life still has so much to offer, even if it comes in smaller, quieter doses than before. That, in itself, is a huge victory, a step toward a fuller, richer life. At the same time, you might find profound relief and comfort in spirituality. Whether through a faith you've followed for years or in the search for deeper meaning in life, spirituality can offer a sense of peace amidst the chaos. Simple acts of prayer, meditation, or even reading inspiring texts can provide inner calm, helping you to face the inevitable challenges that life presents. Spirituality can become a refuge for you, a place to pour out the aches of the soul and find solace. It's a space where hope can be renewed, reminding you that even when life feels like it's unraveling, there's still something sacred to hold on to. Regardless of your specific beliefs or spiritual practices, the important thing is that you find something that nourishes your spirit, something that brings you comfort and fills you with inspiration. It can be a private, deeply personal experience, or one that connects you with a community. What matters is that it gives you strength and peace, a gentle reminder that there's more to life than the difficulties that sometimes feel overwhelming. Spirituality can offer perspective, a way of grounding yourself when everything else feels uncertain. As you embark on this path of renewal, you may notice something unexpected happening. Simply taking the first step towards a new life, towards something fresh, makes your heart feel just a little lighter. The loneliness that once felt so unbearable may begin to open up, creating space for new possibilities, for new relationships, and most importantly, for a renewed connection with yourself. You may not notice the change all at once, but little by little, the heaviness begins to lift. This doesn't mean that the pain of the past will vanish overnight, or that feelings of abandonment won't still arise from time to time. You'll still have hard days, moments when the ache feels sharp again. But slowly, as you continue moving forward, you'll learn to live alongside those feelings without letting them define your life. They won't be the only things that shape your existence. You'll start to notice the small joys that had gone unnoticed before, the soft glow of the morning sun streaming through your window, the comforting smell of coffee brewing, the soothing melody of birds singing outside. These little moments begin to take on new meaning when you allow yourself to experience the present with fresh eyes, with a heart open to finding beauty in the world again. Each day becomes an opportunity to rediscover joy, to reconnect with the world in a way that feels vibrant and real. It's not about denying the struggles you've faced or pretending the loneliness wasn't there. It's about embracing the fact that, despite it all, you are still here. You are still capable of experiencing life, of creating new memories, of finding fulfillment in ways you never imagined. Through this process, you'll begin to understand that while your journey has been challenging, it has also made you stronger, more resilient, and more compassionate toward yourself. You'll learn that there is still so much left to explore, to feel, and to give. So as you step forward, remember that each small act, whether it's picking up an old hobby, exploring new interests, or simply taking a moment to breathe and appreciate the present, is a step toward healing and growth. Life may have shifted, but there is always room for new beginnings. Even in this phase of life, there is space for hope, for love, for joy. And the beauty of it all is that these moments, as small as they may seem, are what gives life its richness, its depth, and its meaning. You deserve to embrace them fully, with an open heart and the knowledge that your story is far from over. By opening yourself up to new experiences, you'll likely begin to discover new ways of connecting with others. It doesn't have to be something grand or overwhelming. It could be as simple as joining a dance class designed for seniors, participating in a local book club, or becoming involved in a volunteer group that supports people in situations similar to your own. These seemingly small steps hold incredible potential. Each interaction, each conversation, can serve as the spark for a new friendship or perhaps even a deep emotional bond that you never anticipated. Don't underestimate the power of these moments. Sometimes the most genuine connections start in the simplest of ways. What's important to remember is that you're not alone in feeling this way. Many people out there, just like you, are seeking companionship, searching for a sense of deeper connection, and longing for someone who truly understands the feeling of being alone, even after a life full of experiences and memories. This mutual understanding, this shared experience of loneliness, can become the foundation for meaningful relationships. Relationships that have the potential to reignite the light in your eyes and bring back that genuine smile you might have been missing. It's these bonds that remind you of the simple joys of life, like laughing over shared stories, supporting each other through struggles, and celebrating even the smallest victories. These moments can be transformative, not just in how you feel about the people around you, but also in how you feel about yourself. And that's when you start to realize something fundamental. Loneliness, no matter how significant it has been recently, doesn't have to define the rest of your life. It's simply a chapter, not the final one. Life, even at 60, 70, 80, or beyond, is still full of opportunities to write new chapters and to experience moments of joy, growth, and discovery. The routines of the past may have shifted, your children may have moved on, and your daily responsibilities may have changed, but that doesn't mean your role in this world has come to an end. There's still so much left for you to give, both to others and, importantly, to yourself. Every new day brings the possibility of rediscovery, a chance to reconnect with the parts of you that perhaps got lost along the way. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Even if the path ahead isn't always clear, the fact that you're searching, that you're open to new possibilities, is itself an act of resilience. It's proof that there's still a spark within you, that you still have so much to live for, so much to share with the world. You don't need to have all the answers at once. Life rarely works that way. But simply embarking on this journey of renewal is an empowering act, a sign that you believe in the possibility of happiness, love, and fulfillment, no matter your age or the obstacles you've faced. There's also immense value in recognizing and honoring everything you've done and accomplished up to this point. It's easy to feel, when loneliness creeps in, as though all the years of sacrifice, care, and dedication you've poured into your family and loved ones may have been in vain. But nothing could be further from the truth. Every single act of love, every sleepless night, every effort to keep your family strong and connected, these are all powerful, irreplaceable parts of who you are. They are woven into the fabric of your life, and no amount of time, distance, or silence can take that away. Those gestures of love, that unwavering strength you've shown over the years, are still within you. And it's that same strength that will guide you as you begin this new chapter of your life, helping you find a path that is full of meaning, joy, and connection. As you rebuild, as you rediscover, you'll also be proving to yourself that it's never too late to start again. It's never too late to allow happiness back into your life, to experience love again. Whether that love comes from new friendships, renewed family bonds, or even from yourself. You deserve to feel the warmth of life, to experience the beauty that comes from simply being alive. It's never too late to pursue passions, create new memories, and fill your days with moments that remind you of the joy and purpose still waiting for you. So take those steps, however small they may seem, and trust that with each one, you're not only moving toward new possibilities, but also toward a deeper, more fulfilling relationship with yourself. The best part? you're writing this chapter, and it can be as vibrant, rich, and meaningful as you allow it to be. As we come to the end of this journey, I hope the reflections we've shared today have resonated with you in some way. Life, even in its quieter, more challenging moments, still holds so much potential for growth, joy, and connection. What have you learned from this discussion? What stood out to you, and what are you inspired to bring into your own life? Take a moment to reflect and comment below. What's one thing you've learned that you plan to put into practice? Your insight might inspire someone else who's watching this video and feeling the same way. If you enjoyed this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more inspiring content. Thank you for being here with us today.